Ladies and gentlemen, hey, welcome to another edition of the RGM Experience podcast with me, Carl Maloney, that guy from RGM, bothering you again for another week here at the RGM Experience podcast, delving into the grassroots music industry and beyond, and as always, finding interesting people within it. And today's no different, guys. We've got Alanya and Kevin from Pavé. Hey, how you doing? You all right?
Hello, how are we?
Oh, it's really nice to see you, just to see, a band progress and just having all these exciting things that you've got going on at the minute. So I thought we'll have a chat, we'll have a sit down, we'll catch up a bit. And yeah, how are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good. Life's been good at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
good spirits.
developing. It's been good.
Rather good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're in the midst of a heat wave and we're both sat in our little respective rooms with no windows open to try and keep the audio good for you listeners. So it's how are you getting on with this heat wave, guys? It's quite intense, isn't it?
It's crazy. Yeah, we're like surrounded by fans trying to keep it.
Two sweaty buddies right now.
Fair enough, fair enough. So yeah, so I hope you're doing okay out there, guys, listening to the podcast. Welcome to and thanks for joining us. Today, I really want to delve into what the graph that you've been putting in as a band, because when I just look from afar, I just see how much you've developed since. I've known about you guys for years, and just seeing you develop over just as much as you have just over the last couple of years, it's just really nice to see. So, how do you guys feel it's going at the minute? Start there.
Yeah, really well. I think we feel very sort of blessed at the moment to be having the opportunities that we've been getting, and for us, it has just been like consistent, like hard work and graft, and we never take for granted anything that sort of comes our way. So just making sure that whenever we've been getting these things, we continue to work hard and we're never just settling at what we get. We're always ready for more and working for that next step.
I feel that hunger, and I can tell you want it because just from having you guys play RGM gigs before in the past and that kind of stuff, it's just it's always nice to see you've got a booking agent, you've got this team around you as well now. So you've got all these, you're building a little team around you to help you. You can't do it on your own, can you? It's difficult.
You really can't. I think the more you develop as well, and the more people sort of start working with you, the more you realize that it really does take an empire to build a band. You really can't do something like this alone. So it's been nice to have that.
Yeah, but it's come a long way since doing like the headline show we used.
Yeah,
3 years ago now.
Yeah, it was the first headline gig. We had Pavé on there.
Yeah, our first headline show.
Yeah.
3 years have flown by. It's just been a whirlwind of one thing to the next. So we've just been going with it, and obviously, like Tanya said, keeping the work rate up as these things come. So I feel like even if we wanted to not do anything, we didn't get the opportunity. It's just been one link of the chain to the next.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful story, and let's rewind a little bit. We know where you are now, and you've got a new tune out as well that we'll come to as well. And I want to delve into each bit of these experiences that you've had, having your first headline gig with us, and what you did to graft to get you in a position where you are now, really. So that's basically the journey of the chat that we're going to have today, ladies and gentlemen. But before that, let's rewind a little bit. So Alanya, Sheffield lass originally.
Yeah.
Good lass. Nice. Tell us about your life growing up in Sheffield, God's greatest city in the world.
You know what? Growing up like back home, that's yourself. It's such a music. Like it's iconic for its music. Yeah. And I was really lucky to everything that I sort of went through as a child. I was constantly surrounded by music. My mum is a massive music fan. As much as I love to play music, she just loves to listen to music. Yeah. And that really taught me that you can love music just as much as a musician through a listener's point of view. And that really ignited the fact that it's so important to create an experience for someone through music. And I spent my whole childhood sort of just locked away in my bedroom writing songs and just wanting to be at places like the Lead Mill.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to the Lead Mill. But yeah, and Corporation. There's so many iconic venues. I think I'm really lucky to have come from a city that loves its music.
And whereabouts in Sheffield were you from?
Oh gosh, Rotherham.
Oh, the Rotherham side of it. Oh, right, okay. Oh, you're one of them that from Rotherham, so you're from Sheffield.
Yeah, from Sheffield.
Okay, fair enough. Whereabouts in Rotherham?
Like Kimberworth.
Oh, I know Kimberworth.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, nice. So but you obviously live in Manchester, like, so we kind of both moved over to Manchester. What was your reason for doing it?
Well, we came here to study music. Yeah.
Okay.
I fell in love with Manchester before I'd even like this was the first city I'd ever actually come to outside of my hometown. And I was just instantly in love with it. My stepdad had a lot of stories from here, and I knew from him that it was a city that was full of music and culture, and it was a place that you could be who you wanted to be. And that was a really important thing for me to be able to just be in an environment that allowed you to express yourself. However, I think the city comes with a lot of opportunities, not just sort of career opportunities, but just personal opportunities. So I've always loved Manchester, and I think now I forever will call it home for sure.
Yeah, nice. So I'm kind of getting like that, but I was just thinking of it. I am missing Sheffield a little bit. I'm going over next weekend. It's my mate's birthday, so and I'm hoping to go. You mentioned the Lead Mill there. I'm hoping to nip in. It's the last 20. I think 28th will be the last official date that the Lead Mill brand is at the building, but the brand of the Lead Mill's not going anywhere. They're going to do gigs all over the city, which is nice. It's just a shame that we can't go to that fucking building anymore because of what's happened, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's happening like everywhere, and it's all the iconic venues.
Yeah.
Grassroots venue shutting down.
Yeah, it's bad, and you know, there's what a retro. Did we have you on at retro? So Manchester Metro is not retro in Manchester's going. It's
we played retro a few times. It was a good venue.
Yeah, I enjoyed retro. It was fun down them little steps, little like rough and ready place, weren't it? You know, just one of the places where you get a bit of stage time and learn your craft and stuff.
Yeah, it builds character, those venues.
Yeah. They do. You're right. So Kevin, tell us about you a little bit then, mate. So where are you from?
I'm from Dublin.
Dublin. Here we go.
Yeah, born and raised.
So tell us about life in Dublin for yourself then, Kev.
Well, life in Dublin, it was good. I mean, in hindsight, in a retrospective, I could tell that like I don't know if it was just my circle, but not that many people were into music as much as I felt I was until like I moved to Manchester to study music. Then I felt like I found more people like really into sort of music that I was into and had that dedication and passion. I mean, like out of my whole school, I only know one other person that's still doing music. So,
and Dublin is such a musical city as well. It just wasn't your experience.
Just wasn't my experience. I mean, Dublin's come on a long way. See, when I was growing up, I'm a bit older than I've seen. But
okay, fair enough. Old bones, mate.
Yeah, and when I went to Manchester, it seems to have developed since I came here. Like obviously, bands like Fontaine's coming through, and you Inhaler and Kneecap and stuff. Like the Irish music scene starting to kind of onto the scene a bit, but it wasn't like that when I was growing up. I mean, we kind of only had like U2 to reference.
Oh Christ! Okay, fair enough.
It was kind of I didn't know many contemporary bands growing up that were Irish that you could like look up to until like I came here, and then it was more bands around us, the venues that you're playing venues that it had good history to it, and everyone around seemed to have this passion for music and for doing it, and it was quite infectious. So when I moved here, I kind of got caught up in it, and I've been here now like 8 years since.
Yeah. So wow, so you've been in Manchester 8 years now?
Yeah, we've been both of us about 8 years now.
So what was like the first like couple of years in Manchester for you? Because it is a bit of an eye opener, isn't it? Like for me personally, I just feel like I'm missing out on a lot all the time because there's so much going on. You can't possibly do everything. And it's not cheap to be able to do anything anyway, like particularly like especially the price of gigs and all those stupid costs that go along with booking tickets these days for stuff and entertainment and all that kind of stuff. It's not easy, but it's great, isn't it?
That's it. I feel the first couple of years in Manchester was like the honeymoon phase. It was very nice. And then I kind of split the experience of like pre-COVID, post-COVID Manchester as two different things completely, like pre-COVID Manchester and then post-COVID. I feel when we came out of COVID, there was just a lot more, I don't know, apartments and new places opening up, and the city kind of changed a bit. But
I think you're right. Yeah, particularly like you know, the landscape of music, and particularly for me, the main thing that I noticed is that because venues really struggled over COVID, that they had to try and recoup some money from somewhere, because you're either that or there'll be another one that goes. And like little things like just the higher fees for gigs these days is higher. There's not as many venues around to book gigs. I've started to do a few more a few gigs down at Lion's Den just to do somewhere different and to, you know, try and find different people than the Northern Quarter a little bit. I'm still doing a few down at Gulliver's and stuff and grassroots meet venues, but the higher costs and the PR, there's a lot more are charging the PRS tax and stuff, you know, where because they play music in the venue and they pass that on to the promoters. So as a promoter trying to put new bands on and try and keep this thing going, it is getting harder and harder without having you to put ticket prices up, which I really don't want to do. How do you feel as a band, you know, putting gigs on and trying to flog tickets to your mates and all that kind of stuff to get them to your gigs? How do you find that at the minute?
I think there's definitely been a big shift, like you said, since COVID. Like people just can't afford to pre-book anymore. People buy on the day. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that can be detrimental to a show actually going ahead or not, because if we don't know if that show's going to go ahead until the day if people aren't booking tickets. So sometimes as a band, it can seem quite pushy when you're constantly saying like, get your tickets. But it's so important to be able to make sure that show goes ahead. And yeah, a lot of people that don't really understand sort of how gigs work in the grassroots scene don't really understand the importance of that. So yeah, it's definitely trickier, but then we're also really lucky that now we have sort of got people that are so eager to come to shows that they're there with the pre-sale and stuff. I think it's just handling new ways of keeping it exciting for them.
Yeah.
Small things as well. We're taking it back to like the scene in Manchester, like little things that have happened, like Zombie Shack is no longer there, and talking about retro. These are like the really small venues that like bands get their first ever gigs at. You know, sometimes starting off, you need to kind of, you can say, cut your chops doing like these tiny venues, but they're not there anymore. And I mean, like for us, it took us a while to get to Castle, even though Castle might be considered a small venue, but they're still like building blocks. And I feel like slowly but surely those little building blocks have been taken away. So I think for smaller bands, I don't know how they're doing it. Maybe they are just rehearsing a lot and getting support slots, and obviously promotions like yourself giving smaller bands the first opportunities is quite vital, because as these small venues slowly get chipped away at, it only really leaves the like larger venues, but you have to be at a certain level really before you play them.
Yeah.
But I want to stay at this level. I can't be doing with the bigger venues and stuff like that. I know where RGM should be in the grand scheme of things, and it's basically getting people the first gig, give them an opportunities, and when bands work hard with you and they show as much passion and as enthusiasm as what you guys did when we first had you headlining down at the Castle. When I find bands like that are willing to just graft online and try and, you know, do the best they can for the show, they're the kind of bands that I stick with, carry on booking shows, and try and eventually get into a position where bigger promotions like This Feeling or whoever take notice, and they do. You know, we've had loads of gigs come through RGM gigs, and you know, you do a lot with This Feeling as well, don't you guys? And you know, I don't want to. You know, I just see a lot of promotions that straight away they start getting too big for themselves, and they start claiming that they're bloody saving the world by putting on a few extra bigger gigs, where for me that doesn't really sit right. I just want to stay in the grassroots side of things, support this level, because that's where the most fun is for me, finding new bands and giving them the opportunity to play, because it's really hard.
Well, that's a vital step in the journey for any band. They need the RGM to start, because that's how to get the experience. And then like if for us, for example, we wouldn't have been prepared for any bigger opportunities if we hadn't given the first opportunities to play headline shows and stuff like that. We kind of developed our craft in a way. We were given the opportunity to develop our craft, which is kind of like important and like a mutual relationship that benefits both of us and that benefits the scene.
That's it. Like what you're doing it is vital to the grassroots scene, to not want to sort of go off and play these like massive venues and book these massive bands and stuff. Like there's enough companies that can do that.
Yeah.
I think what you do is it is really vital to.
Well, I don't want this to be an advert for RGM. It just, it's not like, you know, we've just worked together on gigs and stuff for a while, haven't we? And it were really nice of you to step in when we had a cancellation for Tramlines, and you came over and headlined our Tramlines gig as well. So that were great of you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't know, so stuff like that. Them last minute gigs are always the most memorable and fun ones. When you pull it out the bag, when you're like, well, we haven't rehearsed, we got to do it. Let's go down. We'll wing it, see what it. Yeah,
part of the adventure.
Yeah,
of it all.
and then when we managed to do it, we're just like, sweet,
yeah,
success.
Because we only found out that a band pulled out. I think it was like late on the night before. So I'm like,
yeah,
what should Pavé?
Yeah.
And then it was just like, because I can remember when we had you on that headline gig, Alana, you were just like, you're so wanting to know how many tickets were sold. You were so invested in the night, and you were so passionate about, making sure people were all right. People have got tickets, and we squeezed 80 odd plus maybe into the castle that night, and it was just such a good night, weren't it? Just seeing. And that was down to your hard work as well. We put on the show, but there were a passion there that I've not ever forgotten, and I keep seeing it as you drive this band forward. Where's that drive come from?
I think it's just a drive. We just want to succeed.
Just want
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we love, like, I think it's part of it. It's like there's like a little cycle. You play gigs and you're playing your songs and you see the crowd to react to it. Then you want to play more gigs, but you want to have better songs. So
Yeah.
then you start writing, and then you're in this process, and it's like this, I don't know, internal drive to just keep writing and to keep progressing, and to just keep writing songs that you like to perform and keep you engaged while you're playing. And you just start, I guess, progression that you just kind of keep always having that drive, and we want to do better. We want to write songs that impress us. We want to write songs that we'd like to hear, songs we'd like to play, and then the rest kind of follows.
That's it. And like I said, I think that drive of wanting to succeed, it's like, well, if you really think about the dreams that we had maybe when we were 15, we've kind of achieved everything that we set out to do in terms of like, oh, getting played on the radio, doing headline shows, making music videos, like all that. But then as you start to build and you start to really connect with real life people that are just as invested in your project as you are, it starts to become something way bigger and way more beautiful. And then you have that drive, not just for yourself then, but for them too. And you want to keep going for them. So I think it's in our bones, and we just refuse to give up no matter what comes our way. We're just like, no, keep going.
Yeah, I love that. And just seeing you mentioned some of the videos there. What was that video when you were all sat in a car and you were like cops and stuff?
Oh, Reset Me.
Yeah.
That was class, stuff like that. I just think, it's not easy to make those type of things. It must have took a lot of time and effort to produce it, and to make it look so cool. Just talk us about that. Talk us about it on the day. Any funny stories from that video? Because I'll put a link to that video in the description of this because it's so much fun.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if we've even got it on YouTube anymore. I think we might have like taken the history of Pavé away from the internet.
Oh, right. Okay.
We were like, no one needs to see that one. Maybe we'll put it back for this.
Yeah.
That was a crazy day. It was a lot of fun. I think on all of our like music videos, we like to be as prepared as possible, but we are also a believer in sometimes winging it and just letting whatever happens. Still to this day we like that when we're filming videos.
Why did you take it down then?
We just created a new era, I suppose. We stepped into a new sort of brand,
with a new lineup as well.
New lineup.
So we were like,
it just wasn't authentic to who we are anymore. And I think
but we did have some people be like, oh, we missed that.
Yeah.
And obviously now you're saying it is like it like plays on us a bit, because we're like, obviously I think that's like, well,
we're very proud of it.
Like saying like there's two Pavés, like there's the Pavé back then when there was like 5 of us to the one that's 4 of us, like 2 different lineups. I don't know, we made the decision.
No, well, it happens a lot. When you get to a certain level, you kind of want to, you don't want people to look back at the old band. You want them to see what you're doing now, and it is common for people to completely rebrand and delete old stuff from your socials and that kind of stuff, and kind of crack on. Did you feel you needed to do that to crack on?
Yeah, I think for us, like I say, we'll always be very proud of our sort of the history of the band, because that's where we are today, is because of where we were then. But it just, as we said, new lineup, new sort of genre that we're trying to step into, just becoming who we really are. So I think videos like that, or even that music, you can find it still in our Discord chat. Like for those sort of raw fans, it's all there and they can still access it. But just generally as a whole of what Pavé is now, I think we're a very different band with a different mindset. So it's important to sort of step into who we really are, that's authentic.
I think like a good like analogy that's always used is like they were our kind of finding ourselves era. And back in the day, bands were able to find themselves without ever recording a single because it was the internet, Spotify, so they could make their mistakes on their demos, and then when they're finally coming to do their album, they were the polished thing. And fortunately for a lot of bands these days, that like early stage formative years is just published anyway online because it's too easy to put up on Spotify and YouTube. And then when you finally have your formative years and you start to kind of find where you are and where you sit, then you have that history up online, whereas back in the day they really didn't have that. So
what is Pavé now then?
Oh my gosh.
We're genre wise or
well, no, you mentioned you're a different Pavé to what you were then. So what were you then and compared to what you are now?
I think I'd say then we were just a group of friends who just wanted to have fun, and we all had the same passion in life. We all wanted to create music and just have the best experience we possibly could. And then
still kind of
we still do, of course, but now it's sort of growing into something a little bit more serious. And it's like, okay, no, actually, this could be a lot of fun, but this also could become something that we've dreamed of that's even bigger than us.
Yeah.
Like back then we were doing it and we were doing it for the sake of just being proud of what we were doing and having fun. And then when things got a little bit more serious, we were like, oh, right. And then you kind of have to shape up a bit, do a bit more like your branding and your PR and stuff. And we started to form, and now like our eyes are set on bigger targets. We're kind of having to develop into that sort of band that we want to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, changing lineups and that kind of stuff. Talk us through how that all came about. Come on, dish the dirt. What's happened? Why have people left?
So I think for us, it was just a case of we left university, and obviously real life starts to hit.
Yes.
Sometimes in life, people just realize, you know what, this is not what I want to do sort of after my 9 to 5 or on my weekends, which is so fair enough. So for us, we're kind of crazy enough to just we won't stop that drive. But I think unless it is your bread and water, then it's just not quite, it's not quite for everyone, sort of that intensity, because it's intense as hell, and you really don't get to stop. So
people don't appreciate that either, because even like when I'm trying to do RGM, I work a full-time job and do RGM on top of it, and it's not easy. So how do you find people that are as passionate to join the band, that want to do it on top of a full-time job as well, and have as much passion as what you guys do? That must be the hardest thing, to find new members that fit that mold.
Yeah, I mean, like that's it. It's the passion. I think you don't really mind doing it once it's passion, because it never feels like work.
Yeah.
I feel like past members, they had the passion for music and they've always been working hard. But I think it's like when it comes to, you're traveling all weekend to do a gig and then you're back in work on Monday and you're knackered. I think that's like Alanya was touching on. There's just like, it's 2 full-time jobs sometimes that you have, and like you don't get any rest. So sometimes you get members that have that passion for music, but it's just I don't think they realize how like intense it would be in terms of like you don't get your weekends sometimes, or sometimes your evenings are rehearsing, so you're going to be up late. So, but we find members kind of, once they have a huge passion for music, I think it comes to them second nature just to do it all. They don't see it as work.
Yeah. I completely agree. Just like I love what I do at RGM. I complain about it every day, but I love doing it. It's just one of them things, isn't it? Particularly like the traveling and that kind of stuff, and the things that people just see, like for a band, that you're just on stage for an hour and that's it. But they don't appreciate all the other stuff that goes on in the background. So what other stuff do you guys do in the background to help push Pavé forward?
Rehearsals,
rehearsing
all the time, writing all the time.
Yeah. We're constantly in the mindset of Pavé. We're never really not.
Yeah, because there's always something, like so many things to take care of.
Yeah.
If you're not rehearsing, then maybe you're songwriting, but if you're not songwriting, maybe there's a release coming up, so you have to do a photo shoot or a video shoot. You social media posts then to do, and you got to put the presence online. So there's always something.
Yeah.
There's always.
We're always banging on about you have to be a bloody digital content creator these days as well as a musician to try and help you? How do you find that kind of stuff? I'm always asking this question and speaking to different people about it. Everybody seems to not like it, but they just feel like it's a bit of a necessary evil these days.
I think, yeah, we're very like different in the sense of you're very about the music, and I personally love like running the social side of things because it's a way of us connecting to a lot of our fans. So I love creating that content and sharing experiences with them and getting their response. And we've built so many beautiful sort of connections with fans through social media. So whilst it's like we could have spent an extra 20 hours that week on a song, but we have to spend that on social media instead. So it's like, it's a beautiful evil, but at the same time,
well, we got like a synchronicity going on, like social music, and then sometimes Alanya will have to stop doing the socials to focus on the music, and I'll have to stop doing the music and we'll do like a photo shoot or a music video or something. Or
you're not a fan of the socials, then, Kev?
I understand they're important. Just they take up a lot of time, and yeah. I'm not a huge fan when it's like Saturday and you have to then walk around and do loads of poses and derelict looking buildings and stuff like that.
I know. I can imagine. Stood up against a wall somewhere. Do these days.
That looks pretty run down. Let's take a photo there.
Yeah.
What is it about like bands and having pictures in like run down derelict areas? It's funny that.
I don't know how that became a thing.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's stuck.
It's a thing, isn't it? It's not just yours though. A lot of people do. Like derelict places. It's just fun.
It's like a factory default. Like anytime you go out for a photo shoot, see something derelict, like that looks cool. Let's stand in front of that.
Brilliant. How annoying is it when people call the band Pavé? Then talk me through that. You must get that a bit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we got all sorts.
Yeah.
Pavé was one that we got years ago and it's stuck with us.
Yeah, it gets interesting. It's fun. Trying to sort of explain how to pronounce it over like text is always a fun game. But
I find it hard to find that little that thing above the V. Is it above the V or the E?
The E,
above the E. Yeah, I find it hard on my keyboard to try and find that thing. Is it a French thing?
Yeah, it is a French thing. But you know how to do it on the keyboard, isn't it? Like
it's like hold 3 and then like it comes up with the options. And then...
okay. So so you have to do Okay, well, I've learned something now.
There you go. We'll sort it on there for everybody. For anyone.
Do you get it a lot then? Just people tagging in like Pavé.
Yeah, we put on like lineups and festival lineups, and there's not even a little E on it. Right? I guess we're Pavé now.
We're Pavé.
It adds to the fun of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
It adds to like the lore.
Yeah, because as well, it's such a, I guess, it's a minor little thing that we can just joke around. Just like, we're still playing the show, it's fine.
Well, let's talk about the newer people that are in the band now. Then this new Pavé. So let's give them a shout out and have a little bit of fun as well. They're not here, so we can say what they want behind the tell us about the other people in the band and the strengths and the weaknesses of being in the band.
Well, Ben's the drummer, and Ben's been in the band since day one.
Yeah.
He's been there. He's drummer. He's excellent drummer. And then the new member would be Meg that joined after Jack left.
Yeah.
Tell us about Meg then. Tell us about our Meg.
We found Meg. We were playing a show at Band on the Wall. Yeah, and they were playing a show with their band there that night as well. And
so you tapped
Pardon?
So you tapped him.
Yeah, well, our bass player had just left, and we were like, "Oh my god, we need a stand-in. We need someone to play the show with us." And an absolute legend came and played the show with like a 24-hour notice of even knowing that we existed. And then we were just in like the green room downstairs, chatting to the other band, saying, "Oh yeah, like this isn't even our bass player. We've not got a bass player at the moment." And he was like, "Oh well, we've got a bass player. Like if you want to use them." And Meg was like, "Take my number, like we can jam." And I was like, "No, we don't want someone that's already in another band. We want someone that's just committed to us." And they were like, "Well, no, just take my number. Like let's just try it." And I was so like, "No," but we
well done
anyway. Yeah. And then
played that one cool.
They had a jam, and we realised that they're an excellent bass player. So it just makes sense. They just slotted straight in.
So. Other than like their music prowess, what else did they bring to the band, Ben and Meg?
Meg brings chaos.
Yeah.
Meg's like creative though. Like they're good at drawing, they help with designs.
Yeah. they're very good at creativity.
They help do some of the artwork on the EP. They
nice.
And then Ben's strength is he has a car.
Yeah. Two drummers, and they've got to, nobody else is going to carry all that bollocks.
Yeah. And he, to be fair to him, he's extremely dedicated, and he loves his instrument, loves music. Like he fit, like when we're talking about that passion and that drive, like he definitely fits in on the same level as us with passion for music. And I don't think you could stop him, even if like the band stopped. I think he'd still be doing something. Kind of like all of us were saying, like even if this stopped, we'd still probably do music in one way.
Yeah.
And about you two, tell us about the other person here, you two. Tell us what your strengths and weaknesses are of each other. So, Kevin, what's your strengths and weaknesses from Alana, and the other way around? Let's go there.
Okay, we got to spend the day together after this.
Yeah. So you know what? Kevin's strengths is that he really, from the second he wakes up to the second he goes to sleep, he's just constantly playing the guitar. Like he's just got this drive in him that he never thinks is good enough, and he's never quite at the level yet. So even if he's like doing some crazy thing on the guitar, he's still like, no, it's not good enough. Like he's just got a drive that makes him want to continue to get better and just be the best at it, because you can't pride yourself in anything more than the work you put in.
Yeah,
and he's taught me a lot about regret and just not wanting to look back on this time that we've actually got and the opportunities that we have, and thinking, oh, I just didn't put the work in. And so he's got a graft. And he's got a passion for music where even if I come to him with lyrics, he might make me sit back for a moment and look at those lyrics and be like, what are these lyrics really speaking to someone else? Like, let's just really think about the poetry that's going on here. Yeah. So there's a level of artistry that goes off in his brain and this graft that is really inspiring, and it's motivating for the rest of us, because we all wish we could be as sort of hardworking as
I'm blushing over
here. He could be.
That's better.
But you know what? That's also his weakness, because he just never stops. And sometimes it's like, just have fun. Why don't we just have fun with this today? And instead it's, no, we've got to do better. We're not working hard enough. We need to go more hard. So it's like, oh, do you know what? So yeah, it's a strength and a weakness, but we'd much rather have that strength there than not have that sort of
100%. That sounds great.
It sounds great. Sounds great from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, let him just rag your head every day.
Yeah.
Go on then, Kevin. Tell us all about Alana then.
Well, Alanya's strength is that sees the bigger picture in terms of branding and promoting the music, the importance, like the admin side of stuff. And then obviously she's an incredible singer, and that's something that we always get sold straight away when new people listen to the band. If I show them, it's like the new acquaintance, they always come back and say like, singer's incredible, singing is great. So we've got that, like we've always had that USP and that strength in the band to kind of sometimes just leave the space in the songs for Alanya's voice. Yeah. And all the time where we kind of simplify sections just so that voice can come through. But yeah, she's always on it. Like I could come up with a song, but then releasing it is a different ball game. It's good to have Alanya there, because instead of having to spend hours and hours like writing and then releasing, kind of like a team. So there's the writing and releasing goes hand in hand, and that's your strength.
So are you band members, or is there a bit more to it?
No, we're band members.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
We're both crazy to each other, so we're just always here to rag each other.
Right. Okay. Fair. So what an incredible journey the band's on. So where do you feel you sit now in the industry? Where does Pavé sit, do you think?
A little bit better than where we were.
That's all you can. That's all you can go for, isn't it? Just do a little better every day.
It's important as well to, like, as all these big opportunities come to us. Another thing that Kevin's always taught me is like just remaining humble and realizing that you might have the best opportunity you could have ever dreamed of presented to you, but that doesn't make you any better than the person that's maybe still playing at the castle.
Yeah.
You've got to continue to be humble, and you've got to continue working hard, because all it takes is for that band behind you to put in the absolute graft, and they're coming up behind you. So I think for us, we feel like we're slowly fitting in more and more. We reaching up a little bit, we're getting to where we want to be, and we're starting to really look to bands that we've been fans of for a long time and think, okay, maybe 5 years, 10 years will be where. But I think just making sure to realise that no matter what festival you're playing or what show you're playing, it's just as important as the smaller ones. You know, it's staying humble and just always remembering that wherever you are, you're not promised that. It's not guaranteed. It's always, you're just lucky that you've got that chance to just what's the word? Just like be thankful, be grateful, and work hard when you get that. Don't get comfortable with where you are.
Well, what is great about Manchester is like once you get to a stage where you can sell out like the Castle, there's another venue. There's, you know, we are blessed for venues in Manchester still. I know there's a couple that have left us, but you know, you've moved on to selling out Deaf Institute, that kind of venue now, aren't you? That kind of stuff. So that's definite progression. And then there's venues after that, academies and that kind of stuff after that, and the even bigger venues that, you know, you can start working through the academies, can't you? Then
that's
that kind of stuff. There is progression to move on to those type of things, isn't there? So how do you find it once you've reached a milestone? Do you straight away look at the next one, or do you do it in like venue sizes? I'm not quite sure. How do you do it?
It's like whenever we reach a milestone, we're already so ahead of ourselves in terms of like what we want, that we're just, again, we're grateful that we have achieved that. I think, like you said, when you're in Manchester, you're aware of all the different sort of levels. And when you get offered that next level venue, you realise the significance of it. So then it's a case of, okay, well, let's work hard and sort of prove to ourselves that we are deserving of that venue.
Yeah. Anything to add to that, Kev?
Well, yeah, I guess when we reach milestones like Deaf Institute Lodge, we do then like have like a kind of, we look back and think, Jesus, look at how far we've came from doing Castle to doing this. And so I think like one day, fingers crossed, we might look at the Lodge and be like, oh, remember when we did the Lodge, and now look where we are. So there's always trying to keep that like perspective, to be like, whenever you do something, in that moment, it always feels like the biggest thing. And there's always that idea of like, that could be it. That could be the peak. Like that you could maybe never move on from that. That could have been just your journey. That's how far you got. So to kind of maybe just appreciate like, oh, if only we got this far, then at least we've done that, and we've maybe gone further than we would have if we had stopped a year ago. So it's a strange one, because you can't take it for granted, even though you want to do more. But even like bands at the top level, they could have like an album that does really well, and they do an arena tour, and then the next album doesn't do that well, and then they're back to an academy. So you never know if that was like your big moment, and that's as far as it was going to go.
Yeah. And what was the experience like supporting the Himalayas then?
Amazing.
It was incredible. Everything that you could have ever dreamed a tour to be, it was. And for that to have been our first experience of the tour was just everything and more for us.
Yeah, they're such a friendly band. They were so great to get on with.
Yeah.
Ran so smoothly with them. And I think that's what also made it a great experience. It was just good fun, nice people.
Their whole team and crew were so lovely and really welcomed us, which as a support band, it's so refreshing to sort of
feel like you're not in the way.
Not feel like you're not just in the way when they're sound checking or they're getting ready for showtime and stuff. So for our first tour, it was just so much fun, and it gave us that hunger.
And the crowds were great.
Amazing crowds.
It was, no matter where we went, there was people from the Discord there, and you get to meet like some of the fans.
Nice.
It's always nice to meet them and realize them and talk with them. And get a few.
What a lot of people don't understand is like when they see you on support slots, because when bands generally go on tour, it might be different for you guys, let me know, but generally they lose money by going on a big tour, because you're paying for hotels, you know, whatever it is, you know, food costs, everything you're paying for when you're out on the road. And it's just a real struggle for bands still to be at that level, because you are still losing money. You do have to, it's more investment in it, but it should pay off by getting new fans.
Absolutely, I know.
We definitely lost money doing it, but can't put a price on the experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
how long were you on the road for?
We did 3 nights.
3 nights.
Yeah.
So we did Leeds, then Glasgow, then Manchester. So we were driving from Leeds to Carlisle, stayed in Carlisle up to Glasgow, and then back down. Did the same thing. So it was a great experience, and to play like 3 gigs in a row. It was like, it was almost as if we were like full-time professional.
Yeah.
And like play a gig, get in the van, next city, you know.
Yeah,
that's just like the experience, and can't really.
And did you learn anything new about each other by being on the road with them? Like being on the road with smelly boys.
Do you know what? I don't drive, so I just stay in the back of the van, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna do my thing. Everyone leave me alone.
I don't think there's any more we can learn about each other. We
Yeah,
know each other.
we know each other too well.
With the band, we've done like the festivals last year. We did all down, went to Isle of Wight and Truck Festival, and we spent a weekend camping with each other and everything. So and driving to London. So I don't know. We're quite accustomed to each other. I think we know when just to be quiet.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
That is the key. Just when someone wants to be quiet and be quiet.
Just be quiet.
So tell us about the new single then. So within the description of this podcast, you'll see a link to the band's website and straight to their new tune, Into the Ether. Then tell us about this new tune, guys.
This is a sort of new direction for us.
It's very drum and bass inspired. It's very we went in a different direction with it. And then obviously we've then fused that heavy metal sort of genre. So we were with it like 50-50. Like either it was going to work, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
But when we got it recorded and we had it the first few mixes, we were like, oh, this is pretty. It just gives you that feeling again of like, oh, this is pretty exciting.
Where did that influence come from to take you in that direction?
We were listening to a lot of bands like sort of Bad Omens and Bring Me the Horizon.
What's that? Who's in from that? The drum and bass artist?
Like Piri and Tommy.
That UK drum and bass scene, like I was hearing it a lot of work, like liquid drum and bass. So I just started doing like liquid drum and bass beats and then trying to play over it. And it ended up with that.
Yeah.
How's Ben performing drum and bass? Did you just?
Yeah, he's so fast. He's like a little octopus. So he's just like, woo.
He's like, hey, you get to play really fast.
Yeah.
He's there, going for it. He's making it even harder for himself.
Yeah.
He's adding in extra stuff. I was like, right, fair enough.
Yeah.
You almost have to say it to him, like, bring it back a bit.
Say that live.
And what else is coming up then? Oh, you're doing a big festival in Manchester as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we're playing Myth Festival this year. We've been really lucky to be able to work with like Factory International.
Yeah.
They've really been supporting us this year. Part of their sort of sounds cohort team. So they've been sort of funding some of our projects and they've been giving us a lot of amazing experiences to learn more as artists and with sort of like different teams from around the city. So they've given us the opportunity to play at Festival Square. So we'll be playing on the 5th of July at 6 p.m.
Perfect.
And that's sort of the start of our festival run, because after that we then head to Trees Festival and Why Not. So we're excited to kick off festival season in our hometown.
Oh, nice. Festival season's great. It's slower for RGM, so I get a bit of a break because bands aren't releasing as much music. They're just out on the road doing the festival things. So it's my time to go out and have a beer in a field and just enjoy watching these bands again. It's a great time of year, festival time, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Get out into a field with a load of cans. You don't know what it is. You're just watching music, sleeping in a tent.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything for tram lines? Are you doing anything for tram lines?
We're not. No, we'd absolutely love to. So maybe next year we'll be like, let's go. Yeah.
Something pops up.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, it's really great to just watch you develop from, playing, do that headline RGM gig. I'm just really proud of you both, just watching you graft and crack on. And I just think it's great. And I think you don't see this much drive, particularly in a few different members of the bands. You might get one that's up for it a bit, but there's a community. It feels right. It feels like it should happen for you. So I just wish you all the best, and I can't see it not happening. You're gonna drive it. You're gonna drive this fucking thing.
Yeah. Whether they want it or not, we will be continuing. Yeah, we'll be on a stage somewhere.
Well, ALANYA, Kevin, thanks for joining us today. Have you got a message for the Pavé fans that might be watching this that have stayed here right to the end? Thanks, guys, by the way, for sticking with us. Have you got a message for those guys just to leave them with before we let you crack on with your day and open those windows again?
I guess just a big thank you, because
the
the only reason we can continue being two crazy people is because you all support it and you stick by us. So thank you for being part of the team.
Exactly, and it's motivating as well to have the support and to see how engaged you guys are. So it's much appreciated, and we're looking forward to seeing you out on the road.
Well said, guys, and thanks for everybody for joining us for another edition of this RGM Experience podcast. I've been Carl Maloney. Like and subscribe, do all that stuff. It helps us out, apparently. That's just something you've got to say these days on videos, isn't it? I don't think anybody does, but it's a bit pointless. But if you can help us out with a like and subscribe, we'd appreciate it. Pavé, wish you all the best. I've been Carl Maloney. This edition of the Our Gems podcast is done for the day, and we'll see you next week for a new one. Thanks, guys. Toodaloo.
Bye.